One time, he threatened to kill a homeless dude.
You ever seen one of these? You think you can run from this? Get your back. You can, hey, try to run. See how fat? I'll get out this car right now and you up.
Another time, he went on IG Live to mock the brutal death of one of his ops.
They put y'all shorty in a trunk and set it on fire.
Yeah, Lil Jeff has had some of the most downright disrespectful moments, and in this video, we're breaking them down. Trolling Monty and Lil Rob.
I'm taking to killing school. Class start next week. You gotta at least have 2 bodies though, for I ain't coming with no, you ain't got shit. I can't work with no beginners, folks.
Anyone who doesn't know Chicago rapper Lil Jeff, this video might seem harmless, just another cryptic social media post. But to those in the know, it's clear that he was sending a message. And that message was nothing short of a diss aimed directly at his ops. That if they weren't careful, he could catch them lacking like he did 2 of their homies, Monty and Lil Rob. The Chicago drill rapper had been teasing the number 2 all over social media, and it seems to have started after the deaths of Monty and Lil Rob. Internet detectives did some digging, and according to their findings, Monty and Lil Rob weren't just random casualties of street violence. For a long time, the internet believed that Lil Jeff was the one who ordered or even carried out the hit, and the way he carried himself afterward did nothing to quiet those suspicions. From sneaky references in his Instagram captions to outright confessions in his music, Lil Jeff was having the time of his life amidst the bloodshed. He used every opportunity to remind the world, and especially his rivals, that he had 2 more bodies to his name. For his enemies, this one hurt. They hadn't just lost one homie, they had lost 2, and they had lost them in the most brutal way possible, in broad daylight, in front of a crowd, with no warning and no mercy. It all went down on Friday, January 26th, 2024. The victims, Robert Boston, known in the streets as Lil Rob, and Monterio Williams, better known as Monty. That day, like any other, they were attending Innovations High School, a charter school located in downtown Chicago. Neither of them had any idea that this would be their last day alive. At exactly 12:30 p.m., as students flooded out of the building for their usual lunch break, chaos erupted. 2 cars sped toward the Washington train station just a short distance from the school. The moment they stopped, masked gunmen leaped out, guns drawn, and opened fire. The targets were clear, Monty and Lil Rob. The 2 teens barely had a chance to react before bullets started tearing through their bodies. Screams rang out, students ran for cover, some froze in shock, unable to comprehend what was happening, and then silence. The shooters jumped back into their cars and sped off. On the pavement, Monty and Lil Rob lay motionless, bleeding out in front of their classmates. High above the street, a witness standing on the train platform had captured the entire aftermath on camera, a graphic video of 2 young lives slipping away, which would later be shared online and go viral. Emergency responders rushed to the scene, but by then, it was already too late. Monty and Lil Rob were transported to Northwestern Memorial Hospital, where doctors could only confirm the inevitable. Both teens were pronounced dead on arrival. Lil Jeff didn't mourn. However, he didn't stay silent either. Instead, he doubled down. He threw up cryptic posts like this one.
The shit will start happening, and y'all know this by now. I went black for like a week, and poof.
Where you at?
Gotta go. After that one, poof. I came back, poof. Only the stuff.
Soon he wouldn't hesitate to throw up the number 2 on social media any chance he got.
You gotta at least have a 2. I'm gonna give y'all 2 minimum. I'm gonna start at 2 minimum, cause y'all know why I'm gonna start at 2 minimum. Now I'm just doing it for a tradition. I'm gonna start at 2 minimum, man.
Lil Jeff dropped lyrics that left little to the imagination and made sure everyone knew exactly what had gone down. He even got a tattoo of 10 teardrops, with 2 teardrops being connected, which according to internet detectives signified killing 2 people in the same drill. The caption was clear: if you know, you know. If you don't, you. To him, it was just another day in the trenches, a deadly game where only the most ruthless survive. And in this other post, he put up a caption of 10 hats symbolizing how many people he had killed. What caught people's attention are the 2 graduation hat emojis, which according to the internet, symbolize the 2 high school teens. But after his death, speculation of whether he murked the 2 teens was squashed after cops pieced together evidence in the deaths of Monty and Lil Rob using social media posts, phone records, auto theft reports, and countless hours of surveillance footage to track down the 3 shooters. And one of them was Lil Jeff. And while he was implicated in the double murder, this next death was shocking, but still didn't stop Jeff from making fun of the victim. Trolling Kadani Smith Jr. The murder of 15-year-old Kidani Smith stands out as one of the most gruesome killings in the ongoing Chicago gang war. It wasn't just another shooting, it was a message, a chilling display of brutality meant to send a warning to anyone who dared cross the wrong people. But for Lil Jeff, it was yet another moment to take shots at his ops while making fun of Smith's death. He took to his Instagram where he made these infamous comments about the incident.
They put y'all shorty in a trunk and set it on fire.
And once you find out how Kidani Smith was murdered, you'll understand just how evil Lil Jeff was for mocking his op's death. It happened on December 15th, 2023. At around 2 a.m., Chicago police and fire crews rushed to an alley after receiving reports of a vehicle engulfed in flames. Once firefighters managed to put out the flames, they opened the trunk, and what they found inside was horrifying. The charred remains of a teenage boy. The body was unrecognizable, burned beyond recognition, but forensic investigators later identified him as Kidani Smith, a 15-year-old who had gotten caught up in the dangerous world of Chicago street violence. The medical examiner's report revealed just how brutal his final moments were. He hadn't just been burned alive. No, his killers made sure he was dead before the fire even started. He had been shot multiple times, gunshot wounds in his neck and chest. Then, as if that wasn't enough, they stuffed his lifeless body into the trunk of a stolen car, doused it in gasoline, and set it ablaze. This wasn't a random killing. This was an execution. And for Lil Jeff to make fun of this death just goes to show that at this point, he was numb to the violence around him. But Kidani wasn't the only one to suffer this fate. Hundreds of miles away, in Florida, another young man met a disturbingly similar end. A rising rapper who had been signed to Kodak Black's label. 26 CJ, whose real name was Javion Ross, was just 26 years old when he was brutally murdered. It was the early morning hours of March 28, 2023, when a frantic 911 call came in. A passerby had spotted a vehicle on fire in the 200 block of Northwest 32nd Court in Pompano Beach. Within minutes, deputies and firefighters arrived at the scene. The white SUV was completely engulfed in flames, thick smoke billowing into the sky. Cell phone footage captured the shocking sight, but what first responders discovered inside was far worse than anyone could have imagined. Once the fire was extinguished, officers peered into the wreckage. In the back seat, slumped over and lifeless, was the burned body of Javion Ross. The scene was disturbingly similar to Kidani Smith's murder. And then, another clue emerged. Inside the vehicle, cops found a gas can, clear evidence that this was no accident. Someone had wanted him dead. Investigators later confirmed that just like Smith, the rapper had also been shot before his body was set on fire. Witnesses in the area reported hearing gunshots and an explosion moments before the SUV went up in flames. And just like this Florida rapper, these next two Lil Jeff ops also died inside their car, and you already know that Jeff was going to mock their deaths. Trolling Lil Deuce and D-Money. The double murder of two gangsters, 25-year-old Desiree McGee, alias D-Money, and 19-year-old Lil Deuce under mysterious circumstances, shocked the Chicago drill scene. It wasn't just another turf war casualty. This one hit home, and according to rumors swirling around the internet, a familiar name kept coming up, Lil Jeff, because after the murders, he couldn't keep it to himself. The world had to know. It all went down in the early hours of November 1st, 2023. Lil Deuce and female gangster D-Money were sitting in their parked vehicle on the 8,300 block of South Dorchester Avenue. It was supposed to be just another night in the trenches, but in the blink of an eye, everything changed. According to an eyewitness, two individuals crept up on the vehicle. Before the victims could react, the gunman opened fire, sending a hail of bullets into the car before fleeing on foot, disappearing into the darkness. It was a hit, executed with precision. Lil Deuce, riddled with bullets, took several shots to the chest. Paramedics rushed him to the University of Chicago Medical Center, but it was already too late. He was pronounced dead on arrival. D-Money, on the other hand, suffered a gunshot wound to the torso. She too was transported to the same hospital, fighting for her life. But she also succumbed to her injuries soon after. The streets talk, and they were pointing fingers at Lil Jeff. He couldn't resist adding fuel to the fire. Shortly after the news broke, Lil Jeff took to social media, dropping cryptic messages that many believed were a blatant confession. He posted hat emojis, symbols often used to signify a body count. But what stood out was that one of the hats resembled a woman's, possibly representing D-Money. And it seems Lil Jeff isn't the only drill rapper accused of taking out female gang members, because years before, another ruthless Chicago figure was tied to the murder of a notorious female assassin, Gakira Barnes, alias K.I., April 11, 2014. The streets of Chicago witnessed yet another cold-blooded execution. This time, the target was K.I., a name feared and respected in the underworld. She was only 17, but had already built a reputation as a ruthless shooter, allegedly involved in multiple killings. But that reputation couldn't save her. She was walking with her brother, FBG Butta, and another friend in the 6400 block of South Eberhard when the hit happened. A hooded gunman emerged from the shadows, raised a handgun, and started letting off shots. K.I. was struck 9 times, bullets ripping through her mouth, neck, and chest. In a desperate attempt to escape, she ran, but her body gave out. She collapsed on a neighbor's doorstep, her life slipping away. Paramedics rushed her to Northwestern Memorial Hospital, but the damage was irreversible. She was gone. Her brother and friend also sustained gunshot wounds, but it was clear. Gakira Barnes had been the primary target. For years, the question lingered. Who pulled the trigger? Initially, police had a suspect, King Von. He had been arrested in connection with the shooting after being identified by eyewitnesses, but the case fell apart due to a lack of concrete evidence, and he walked free. Years later, after King Von was gunned down in Atlanta in 2020, the truth finally surfaced. Official reports confirmed what many had already suspected. King Von had, in fact, been the one who executed K.I. The police report detailed the crime with chilling accuracy. The shooter was described as wearing a gray hoodie and blue jeans. He approached the trio, pulled out a handgun, and unleashed a storm of bullets, striking all 3 victims. Then, as swiftly as he had appeared, he slipped into a getaway vehicle and vanished. Killing female gangsters aside, this next disrespectful stunt Lil Jeff pulled was truly heartbreaking. Threatening a homeless man. While killing his ops and bragging about it on social media is crazy work, it takes a different kind of crazy to threaten a homeless guy with a gun, record it, and post it on the internet for laughs. Well, it seemed there wasn't anything out of bounds for Lil Jeff because he did just that. A video circulating the internet shows Lil Jeff's controversial interaction with a homeless dude on the street. It started off like a joke. I thought L. Jeff was going to show the homeless dude some love. Maybe he was trying to give back to the street or something. However, all of a sudden, L. Jeff pulled out his blick and started threatening the guy unprovoked.
I caught me some action. Yeah, what up, Joe? How you coming?
I'm coming.
You ever seen one of these? You think you can run from this? Get your back. You can. Hey, try to run. See how fat? I'll get out this car right now and you up.
However, Jeff changed his tone and told the homeless guy that he was just kidding.
Nah, I'm just playing. Hey. I love you, Bleed.
Despite his last-minute save, the internet was not having it. One comment read, "Damn, that's some sickish shit. That dude was a psycho, joking about killing the dude for no reason." While another one read, "Telling him to try to run and you'll do something to him and then say I love you Bleed is wild, he ain't know what to say." But Lil Jeff isn't the only drill rapper who's made fun of the less fortunate, because King Von made fun of his ops after they got shot in the head and survived but were never the same again. This was none other than FBG Wooski. In one Instagram live, Von joked that Wooski's head injury was so bad that he couldn't remember how he beat him up one time.
Hey, Wooski ain't tell y'all I beat his one day. He ain't tell y'all that. He too dumb to remember. I punched his ass up.
He would also jump on another live, joking about how Wooski wasn't the same again after he got shot.
I ain't gonna lie, he ain't been the same. He don't talk shit no more, nothing. I don't know what the f*** is it, bitch. Them bullets be changing them. Oh, man. I hope you watching. I hope you hear this. Your ass, dude.
Wooski almost lost his life in a 2018 shooting during a funeral where he was shot in the head. And according to many people, Wooski has never been the same since the incident. In 2018, one of Wooski's friends, rapper Vantrese Chris, alias Dusky Thawman, was shot and killed by an op. After his death, Von FaceTimed Wooski to brag and tell him he was in for a surprise.
Listen, we gon' surprise. It's time about tonight. We gon' surprise, bro.
Being a loved figure in the community, O-Block members knew that Dusky's funeral would be jam-packed with ops, making it a perfect opportunity to strike, which they did. On the afternoon of the 17th of October, all hell broke out at Dusky's funeral. During the funeral, a car pulled up, men jumped out and opened fire on the mourners. Some of the gang members mourning their fallen soldier, including Wooski, also pulled out their firearms and shot back. Unfortunately, Wooski was shot in the head and fell to the ground as the shooters got back in their getaway car and sped off. Wooski was not the only one shot, as 6 other people also sustained gunshot wounds. Luckily, everyone survived, including Wooski, who was shot in the head. Using his dead ops' last words in a song. Remember the video that went viral that showed Monty and Lil Rob's last moments? Well, in the footage, you can hear the agonizing last screams of one of the victims. Well, Lil Jeff found inspiration from that and decided to make the track Ah. As evil as this sounds, he isn't the only rapper who has pulled off such a disrespectful stunt. Lil Durk did the same thing to rapper Quando Rondo. In the track Wonderful Wayne and Jackie Boy, Durk raps, "Look on the news and see your son. You screaming no, no, and all them was hanging with him. If you know, you know. Durk was talking about Quando. Rondo, who was caught on camera screaming after his cousin, Lil Pab, was shot and killed by Durkio's OTF shooters. It all started with the death of King Von at the hands of Quando Rondo's right-hand man. For Lil Durk, Von's death wasn't just personal, it was war. Whispers spread through the industry. Durk had put a price on Quando Rondo's head. At first it seemed like just another rumor. Then the truth surfaced. Court documents revealed that Durk used coded messages to offer a bounty on Quando, Durk's cousin DeAndre Wilson, even promising lucrative music opportunities to anyone willing to take part in the hit. OTF, Durk's label, was being used as both a music platform and a means of getting revenge for Von. For months, the tension simmered. Both artists continued making music, but the unresolved feud cast a dark cloud over their careers. By August 2022, the situation turned bloody. According to federal records, Durk's associates learned that Quando Rondo was staying at a Los Angeles hotel. This info set off a chain of events, leading to Quando's attempted assassination. On August 18, 2022, the plan was set in motion. Durk's men, DeAndre Wilson, Keith Jones, David Lindsay, and Asa Houston landed in LA. They had traveled from Chicago to San Diego before driving up, reportedly using money provided by Durk. They took every precaution to avoid direct links to him, following his alleged orders to avoid booking flights under his name. Yet, the feds uncovered evidence from Durk's iCloud, showing he explicitly warned them against booking anything in his name. Despite this, flights were still purchased using a credit card linked to Lil Durk and OTF. Upon arrival, the crew met Keon Grant, a high-ranking associate who had flown in on a private jet. Grant arranged hotel stays, secured vehicles, and even provided ski masks. But more chillingly, he armed Jones and Lindsay with firearms, including a modified machine gun, making it clear this was no idle threat. It was a mission. The group stalked Quando, who were driving in a Cadillac Escalade as they moved through Los Angeles. The OTF members slowly closed in as they patiently waited for the perfect moment to strike. That moment came at a gas station across from the Beverly Center. Asa Houston strategically positioned his car, setting up the ambush. As Quando and Robinson pulled in, Jones and Lindsay emerged, guns drawn. Shots rang out. Robinson, caught in the crossfire, was fatally hit. Rondo, miraculously, survived. The gas station erupted into chaos. Bystanders panicked, and the shooters vanished into the night. Afterward, the crew regrouped at an In-N-Out, discussing payment with Grant before each going their separate ways. And just like Lil Jeff, Durkio could not help but snitch on himself in his music, which is now being used in court against him. But when you look at all the reckless moves Lil Jeff made, you have to wonder, where did all that disrespect really come from? Because if you dig a little deeper, it becomes clear. He wasn't just born this way, he was raised this way. And if you think his actions were wild, wait until you hear what his mom had to say to his ops. Lil Jeff's mom's message to his ops. While the streets were processing Lil Jeff's downfall, his dad reacted in a way no one expected. Instead of mourning quietly, he took to social media in a shocking display that had the internet confused. But first, let's look at what Lil Jeff's mom had to say to his son's ops while he was still alive. You see, Lil Jeff's mom had caught wind of her son's violent activity in the streets. However, instead of condemning his violent lifestyle, she seemed to embrace it wholeheartedly. In a now infamous screenshot that circulated online, Jeff himself had once posted a conversation with his mother, revealing just how deep her encouragement ran. "Go ahead, son. Your name ringing bells in the streets," she wrote, seemingly proud of the reputation her son was building by sliding on his ops. In another message, she added, "I love it. Sliding on them who slept in the bed with you." This was no concerned mother begging her son to leave the streets. This was full-fledged endorsement of his thug lifestyle, and Lil Jeff was thrilled by this endorsement. He proudly shared the screenshot with the caption, "All I gotta say is, she watched me work that 6T woo." To him, his mother's approval wasn't just validation, it was fuel to keep sliding on his rivals. But if his mother's response was shocking, his father's was even worse. While Lil Jeff's mom cheered from the sidelines, his father took a more active role, practically calling for retaliation. Taking to Facebook, he made it clear that his son's death wouldn't go unanswered. And to let it be known, y'all didn't get him, he came trying to get y'all. And what happened happened, but the saga continues. Clear the streets. To anyone unfamiliar with the street life, the message was disturbing, one that sounded less like mourning and more like a call to war. A message that shouldn't be coming from someone's dad. Instead of trying to stop the cycle of violence, Lil Jeff's parents were pouring gasoline on the fire, and the internet wasn't having it. People were quick to call them out, roasting them for encouraging their son's destruction. While some sympathized, understanding the harsh realities of Chicago's gang culture, most couldn't believe what they were seeing. Parents actively pushing their son toward a life of crime, only to mourn him in a way that kept the violence alive. I just figured a mother's love for her son and wanting him to survive would run deeper. Definitely changes my opinion of Jeff. Kinda feel bad for him now. Then I remember he'd kill me without thinking twice. One fan joked. His parents, no wonder he was the way he was. Plus, his older brother was already in the streets, bro, never had a chance. Another comment read. In the end, Lil Jeff's story wasn't just about a rapper caught up in street life. It was about a cycle where even the people who should be pulling their loved ones out of danger were instead pushing them further in. If you enjoyed that video, you can watch similar content by clicking on the boxes playing on your screen.